In this video, I'm going to go over what credit score you need in order to rent an apartment in New York City. So there isn't a single official credit score requirement to rent an apartment in New York City, but landlords do commonly use your credit score as a key part of deciding whether to approve your application. So here is what you should know. So the golden zone of credit scores in order to rent in New York City is between 650 and above. This is often considered the minimum acceptable range for many market rate apartments. So you really want to aim for 700 plus, more particularly 740 plus. That is a really strong score that significantly increases your chances, especially in more competitive buildings, luxury high rises, or properties managed by large companies. So if you're trying to get a place that is run by a large company, they are going to want the best credit score possible. So if you have anything above like a 740 or even a 720, you are in a really strong position. If your credit score is between 650 and 700, that is okay, but you may need to go ahead and get a guarantor when you actually try applying for apartments, which I'll get into later on in this video. But if your credit score is below 650, then I'm going to be brutally honest, you are going to experience a little bit of trouble. If your credit score is lower than that, then things are going to be a little bit more challenging. Not impossible, but they're significantly going to be more challenging. So let's go over if your score is lower. So if you have a score that is 650 and lower, you still might get approved for some of these properties, but be prepared for additional requirements like a guarantor / co-signer, a higher security deposit, or prepaying rent. So what a guarantor is basically someone who meets the 40x rule in New York City. If you're unfamiliar with the 40x rule, basically it's a general guideline that a lot of landlords use in order to determine whether you actually qualify for a place. So let's say, for example, you wanted to go ahead and apply to this place right over here. You go ahead and click on this listing. So look, notice how it says 3,500. I'm just rounding up a little bit. So what the 40 rule basically means is that our yearly income needs to be 40 times this. So this is the rent. So let's go ahead and multiply it by 40 right over here. And then bam. So that means in order to afford this, our income needs to be 140K. So we are comfortably able to afford this. So that's another really important factor as well. And so even if you don't have the best credit score, but you meet the 40x requirement, then you are, in a much better position. That will definitely help you out significantly. Also, if you have a lot of savings or capital in a bank statement, for example, that is going to help you out as well. So even if you don't have the best credit score, but you have a lot of savings, that can definitely come to your advantage, but you really need to emphasize it in the applications that you do have a lot of savings and that you actually are prepared to move in. So yeah, you may need to get a guarantor, and a guarantor does cost money. So you could use services like InsurRent, or you can get a private guarantor, but it's typically someone you know in real life, such as like a parent or an uncle or someone like that. But you could also use services like InsurRent. They do give you an option to get a guarantor if your credit score is very low. But I must be clear that not every property company or every listing accepts InsurRent. Some of them only strictly want a private guarantor, so whenever you're texting these people, please ask them directly, do you accept insurance, so you don't waste any time or any money, guys, because some of these places just don't accept it as well. Because some of these places just don't accept insurance, which is a little bit unfortunate. So again, just keep that in mind. So New York is definitely one of the most competitive places to get a place here. So you really want to maximize your chances by getting the best credit score possible, even if it means holding off on getting an apartment and building up your credit. If you guys found this video helpful, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next tutorial.